Well, good Sunday evening to you folks, mass pagers, SEOers, lead geners. We are here for you. Myself, Daryl. To my right is Simon. Below here is Stephen. How are you, Stephen?
Very well. I moved myself here on purpose, right? When I came in here, Clint was where I am, right? And the thing that happens when people come in and say hello, right? StreamYard pops this little banner up, and if we're all to one side at any time with presentations, it actually blocks the person's face out. And you being our guest, Clint, I didn't want your face being blocked out. One of the weeks I just sort of popped my head over the signage. So I put you in a far better position on screen. And no, it's been a very good week, very busy week. Lots going on. And like you, Daryl, I noticed you've been busy with all sorts as well. And
yeah, very busy. Yeah.
How you been, Simon?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, busy as well. I started a couple of new projects and also finally moved over my old course onto a new course platform. So yeah, I've been pretty busy on that stuff. So yeah, it's been a good week. The weather's a little bit colder than it was in the last couple of weeks as well. It's a bit easier to work. So yeah, no, I'm good.
Awesome. And we want to welcome Mr. Clint Butler. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation with those cool shades and the nice goatee.
Yeah,
he's he's an SEO rock star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, trying to figure out the new look. I want to pimp myself out. I need all the help I can get with a mug like this. So.
It's all good. Look good. And we're going to
do some work over here. Yeah,
we're going to take your questions with Clint Butler coming up a little bit later in the program. We have our domain giveaway at the top of the hour, and then something different's going to happen at the top of the hour. Steve, do you want to tell us what's going to happen?
Well, basically, some weeks we've had comments back from people saying that we do sort of Q&As at the end. And sometimes people on longer than they should be. So I come up with the idea on my channels, on the DFY channels and the Lead Gen Magic channels, that what we're going to do, we're going to break away and we're going to allow people to come into a room where you can chat about whatever you want, however you want, right? For as long as you want. and then in the meantime, anyone who wants to keep asking Clint or Simon or Daryl questions, please stay on Daryl and Simon's channels and just ask away, pop in, say hello. And we're trialing this out for a moment, see how it goes. And if it ends up being that it's the idea that I'm doing working out, well, I might even move it to a different night so it doesn't clash. But we just wanted to try something a little bit different out for a change. So that's what's going to happen. At the close to the top of the hour, I'm going to wave. And that's my sign for guys to head over. And if you do want to join in, you can come to dfy.cu/live to pop into the room.
Okay, great. Maybe you can make a little graphic for the with the banner, I guess, and we can go ahead and flash that on. Maybe you already have that, but great. So, well, welcome to another Sunday Live. This is where we sort of bring together all the community of Mass Page. We have a few companies represented here. We have Clint here. We do have special guests from time to time, and we always try to give some value about Mass Page, about lead gen, about SEO, different tools and things like that we come across. I, of course, have my own tool, Mass Page Tools, mass.page, but we also try to integrate with other tools. We this week talked about Menterprise Publishing. We talk about Page Generator Pro and how we're looking to integrate with that, and Mass Website Builder, and of course, MPP is sort of what everybody is really into because it has so many different features to it. It's the WordPress plugin, MPP, Magic Page plugin. So we always try to add value to you. And of course, you guys are a big part of the show by adding your comments, jumping on with us, sharing and liking the videos. We always appreciate that. So if you are, I'm just going to ask you right now, if you're watching this on the replay or if you're watching live, throw a little like on there, a little social love. And we appreciate that. And that will kind of help us to get more rankings and whatnot on the videos and get it out to more people. So thank you so much. It
certainly helps us, doesn't it, Daryl? And also, if you pop in, please say hello. We'd love to know who's coming in. If you're on Facebook and you haven't approved StreamYard, and we say hello Facebook user, please pop your name in as well. Like we've already got a Facebook user saying cheers and hello. So whoever said that, pop your name in or approve StreamYard so we know who you are, because we'd love to know the names of people popping in.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to have a great show for you today. A lot of great information from Clint. Clint's been at this a long time. He's a thought leader in the space of SEO. He's been a part of SEO Fight Club for years. He's got the SIA, is that what it is? As SEO Intelligence Agency. I mean, these guys are the creme de la creme of SEO experimenters and thought leaders. These are the people that find out what really works, not what Google tells you works. And they help SEOs all over the country to figure out what to do next and things like that. So it's an honor to have you, Clint. We really appreciate you being on the show with us.
Oh, the honor's mine. I appreciate the invite.
Awesome. All right, so let's get started. I guess, Simon, you're going to start with the presentations like you usually do because you're always more prepared than us. And, we'll see what you have to present to us today.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, this week I just thought I'd share some thoughts on meta titles and descriptions, and obviously it's great to have Daryl and Steve on the line, and Clint. It'd be great to get your perspectives on some of this as well. So, it's just really some thoughts from me on that. So, I'll just flip over to my share screen. Hold on. Can you see the screen? Okay. Yeah.
Yep. See it loud and clear. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so just some thoughts. I mean, some of this is sort of basic stuff, but I mean, I appreciate we've got a wide range of people viewing, so this is just to cover off some basics and then bring in some more thoughts. So, meta titles and meta descriptions, what are they? What can they be used for? How can you use them with Magic Page plugin? How can you use them with regular WordPress? So, I mean, this is just really to make sure we're all in the same place in terms of what is a meta title, and it's obviously the blue writing at the top of a search result, and the meta description is the text beneath it. And I've highlighted there. You pretty much know that, but just to make sure we know where we are. So some thoughts on meta titles. They are used to share some relevance on the page for SEO. So they're useful from that point of view. There's some guidance from Google on the amount of characters you can put in before you get the titles cut off. And you're really looking to put something in that's unique and outlines the page content. So I always recommend putting in a target keyword for like a local service page. So if it's London emergency plumber, I'd start the meta title with that, and then I'd have a qualifier or a call to action after that, which is really designed to help with call to action. So that's your kind of your meta titles, and that would be my suggestion for service pages. But you would take a different approach for home pages and other pages, but that would be a good start. Meta descriptions, obviously the text below. Google said a long time ago this is not a ranking factor. Be interested to see if anybody thinks that it is. If things have changed, but that's my understanding. But meta descriptions are the text that really drives your click-through rate. So that's really an appeal to the search users who see the results, and it's your chance to show a bit about the page, your credibility, your credentials, and a call to action. So call us, visit the website, what special offer or whatever, and that's something longer. And what I recommend on those is that you obviously include things like keywords, the location if it's a location service page, what I'd call a trust phrase, so like you're experienced or professional or whatever. Google will highlight some of these words and phrases in the search as well when it picks up that these are included in the meta description. So these are all things that you can use. Here's a couple of examples I've put together on that format. I'm going to share a link to these slides later on, so if you want to pick them up, that's fine. And I'd be certainly interested to hear from people in terms of if they've got any other alternative approaches. But here we can see the location, the keywords, the qualifier or call to action here, and here's some further details in terms of the description itself. So there's two examples. So I know there's obviously a lot of mass page builders that watch the stream. So you may already be using your meta titles and descriptions, and you may already be aware that Magic Page plugin that supports spin tags within the meta titles. This is obviously a great opportunity for you to really build in that kind of richness and variety, and obviously save a lot of time by using the shortcode. So I've put together some examples here in how you can replicate the format that I've just suggested, the keyword and the qualifier and then the description. And here's some ways you can actually add in that spin tag. So it's a mix of spin tags and the shortcodes to build that out. And once you've got that set up on your Magic Page, obviously it's a dynamic page, you'll be able to use that across all of your different pages. So if it's a 50 or 100 or could be thousands, that's it. So if you're not using that already, many of you will be doing that already, to be honest. But if you're not, getting the time done early on to get the setup is really going to help you maximize your variety in terms of those unique meta titles and meta descriptions. Here's a few ideas, and obviously I'll ask the guys to chip in with some thoughts as well. One of the things that I always recommend is that if you're looking at how to rank and you're looking at the search results, obviously you want to be seeing what Google already rewards and recognizes, and that's the same for meta titles and descriptions. So I would look at what competitors are using, what the structure is, what the text is, and I'd be looking at emulating that. So I'd look at the top 5 or 10 on the SERP and take a view on that. One other thing, despite the fact that there's a suggestion on the amount of text you use, you can always add more text. I don't suggest it, but I have heard of people spamming, probably spamming, keyword stuffing, whatever you want to call it, the actual meta title and putting a lot more words in there. That's an option. I'd still keep it something that's user friendly, but you can go down that road if you choose to. Another thing I've heard, and I use this on some of my content pages, is that rather than Google can decide if it wants to keep your meta description, or it might choose to use another part of the page and itself and put in its own text. And one technique is to leave when you've got a lot of content on a page, it's just leave the description open, and people can then Google can then decide which part of the text it can choose to put in there. I guess you're leaving it open, and Google's obviously ultimately going to decide what it wants to do, but that's another idea. I think it's quite an interesting one to maybe encourage Google to look at other parts of your page, provided you've got a lot of content. Other couple of sort of straightforward things are trying to use important words earlier to show the prominence, and obviously those words are also visible on browser tabs and social previews. So if that's an important part of what you're saying, that's good. And don't lose sight of including your branded keyword. You want to build up some trust. You want to encourage click-through rate. You don't want it just to be keyword spam. So I would make sure that you've put in your brand and want to promote that. And a bit like your pages, I would always encourage you to have a unique meta title, meta description echoing what's on the page, and work that through as well. So it can take time to put these things in. If you've got Magic Page plugin, you've got a big head start, obviously. But they're my kind of ideas and tips on how you want to approach meta titles and descriptions. So lots of different tools that you could use to help. It's one of the tools I find quite useful is SEO Press, which just really gives me some guidance on reminding me on the number of words to use, and also pixels, because the truncation cuts off at sort of 600 pixels wide on the title. So if you want to be super detailed and worry about truncation, you can use a tool like SEO Press to remind you to stay within limits. But there's many other plugins out there that can obviously help you to do it. So that was my kind of headline on meta titles and descriptions. Here's my links if you want to get these slides afterwards, and I've actually put together like an archive of all the previous slides as well at simonhogman.com/slides, and there's a few other group links as well. So that's my my slides. I'll just pop out of that and
Awesome.
see if there's any questions. So sort of race through that, but hopefully that was helpful and a bit of food for thoughts. I don't know if anybody has any. Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
So I was going to say, it's a thought, right? Because there's a lot of arguments about. Obviously, the title, you can only you can fit so much in on the title, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have various arguments, but when it comes to the actual description that you see on Google and you fill in that box, what is the ideal amount, do you guys think, that you should fit in? Because I see some people that just got loads, and you got like ... and others they put a little amount in. Is there an optimal amount you guys think is great?
What do you say, Clint? Oh, I think I muted you. There we go.
Right now.
All right. So I say from a ranking perspective, the length really, it doesn't matter as long as it gets you up there, right? And I always look at the top 3. That's where I want my title tag and all the rest of my optimization to get me into the top 3. After that, it's CTR, and that's when you start playing around with the words and word placement and length and long and short and all that stuff. So your audience is going to give you a better answer than Google will.
Yeah, I think that it's always a fine balance, playing tug of war between a real CTR, a click-through rate magnet, versus an SEO magnet. Over the years in early SEO, it was always put your keywords in the first 2 or 3 words of the title, but it doesn't really make it very sexy for somebody to click on. Sometimes a more compelling statement can get more clicks, which in turn can get you more rankings. So I think that it's always this kind of tug of war between playing what's right for the audience versus or click-throughs and what's right for the SEO. Would you guys all agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think if you've got a strong title, it's no good just putting in John's carpets in the title and that's it. I think you got to have a hook. You got to have something that really grabs people's attention sometimes. But also, as you said, Clint, you're quite right on the point of view that I also look at the top 3. I see what they're doing, because whatever they're doing SEO wise, unless they're paying Google a lot of money to be there, I find looking at them and not copying them, but trying to do something similar helps get you closer to where you want to be.
Or to stand out from them too. If you're in that pack, you want to be the top choice if you're the top 3 as far as the CTR side of things. But yeah, I get that. The other thing is you didn't mention keywords, Simon. Back in the day, there's always meta keywords. Is there ever a reason to have keywords these days? I have a few opinions on this, but I'm wondering what you think.
Do you mean meta tags, or do you mean keywords in the text?
No, there used to be meta keywords that were used to be the thing to have. And Google says that they don't pay attention to that, which that's fine and dandy. But other search engines do use them, and also your Google Ads uses them to find the relevancy for your placement of the page. So if you're doing Google Ads, I always suggest to my clients to put in some keywords on your landing pages, because that helps the relevancy for those keywords, and thus cost of clicks are lower.
Yeah, I mean, they Google said a long time ago they're not using. I think it was like 2009 that they were not using meta keywords, meta tags as a ranking factor. And I guess my main focus would be on that. So all the things I would look at is title and description, and obviously there are keywords in there, and as I said, if you want to start your title with the keywords, that can obviously echo the H1 you've got, and obviously the rest of the content. I think that's good practice. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I would ignore meta keywords, but somebody might tell me something different. But my focus is on title and descriptions, or sometimes I leave the descriptions blank to let Google decide. Yeah.
Clint might correct me on this, but I want to know from Clint on this anyway, that a lot of people put their eggs in one basket when it comes to search engines. They worry about Google too much. And Google, yes, it's the #1 search engine. But I've had great results from Bing, from Yahoo, from others. Do you find that as well, Clint?
Yeah, well, if you optimize for Bing, you're going to optimize for Yahoo. Just like if you optimize Google, you'll get DuckDuckGo, etc. So, but the competition over there at Bing is easier. And the traffic, in my opinion, for some niches is actually more valuable. So there have been tests out there: fashion, entertainment, electronics. Bing users spend about $500 more than Google users.
Oh, wow.
And those are those 3 particular niches from that study. But I like to optimize for both. And if I really don't necessarily, if I'm like testing and stuff, I'll just do it. I'll try to optimize for Bing and then see what happens with Google, and then go back and do the Google stuff. So it just makes life a little bit easier to kick that traffic up.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the thing on Bing, isn't it, that a lot of corporate search, corporate setups have Bing as the default search engine, so it tends to draw in traffic from a different kind of average demographic, and that tends to be more affluent. I think it was something about where the traffic was coming from, which search engine, which corporates websites had it set as a default search engine. Doesn't Apple have some sort of connection as well, I think?
And their primary users are older.
Yeah.
So, and by default, they typically have more money. So
yeah,
you kind of mess that around too. I've always gotten a lot more information search traffic from Bing than Google. Which is pretty interesting.
I like to do split testing, and what I do in an area, I have because I do lead generation, I have one site in the same area and another one, but one will be optimized for Bing and one will be optimized for Google. and they'll be looking two different businesses. But I find that works really well, where you've got different phone numbers, different addresses, and you can optimize separately on them. It's a bit more work, but I mean, I normally clone a site over and make the other one look different enough to be the second site. Do you think that's a sort of a good way of doing it, Clint, or do you like to use one site and try and optimize on different pages?
I'm lazy, so I'll optimize being first on the same page and then go back and do the Google stuff. So,
and that's the nice thing about Magic Page plugin. Now you can do static pages. You could do a group of pages that is just optimized for Bing, I guess, and a whole group of pages that are just optimized for Google, if that's what you choose to do. One thing that George just brought up is about the URLs. Having the slug have the keywords in it, whether it's the domain having a partial match or exact match, or very close to the .com, having your keywords in there. We talk a lot about that in our trainings, and wonder what do you think about that, Clint? If you were to pick between description, title, and slug, which one would you want to have your keyword in first?
all three. I wouldn't pick. That's 3 of the top 5 coming in places for where your URL or your keyword placement should be. Title, description, URL, in the content, obviously, right? And an H1 tag. So if you short yourself any of those 5, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure right from the beginning. So I would always put it in all of those.
Now, what if you've done your keyword research? 1 second, Steve. What if you do your keyword research and you've got your grouping of, let's say, 5 or 6 keywords, okay, and you've got your primary keyword, which is like the most difficult, and then maybe one that you found was a great opportunity as far as it isn't very competitive, but it could get you some visits, right? Would you focus, because of the real estate that you have in the slug and everything, you don't have a lot of room, what would you focus on? The one that is most winnable, or the biggest, most difficult part to win?
The most difficult. And then I put my winnables in the H tags, the H2s and H3s.
Okay.
And you'll carry and bring that up by having it there. So
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome. What are you going to say, Steve?
Well, I was going to ask another question to Clint. There's other arguments that go on, right? And that is, should you worry about .com, .co.uk, I've got some .cu domains now. Does Google, like, if you manage to get a really good keyword, let's say it was solar.cu for an example, could you rank that as well as solar.com?
I would say it depends on which engine you're going after. So in the UK, if I wanted to rank in the UK market and I do a search in the UK, most of those domains are .co.uk, right? Or uk.co, whatever it is.
.co.uk, yeah.
So, and then versus google.com, it's .com, .net, info, some XYZ occasionally you can see there. So they're getting a little bit better with the diversity, but your market's really going to drive that. If you can get the .com and you're trying to target a U.S. audience, there's no sense in making it harder on yourself by getting a Colombian TLD. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna affect click-through rate as well, isn't it? People are going to look at it and not trust it and be less inclined to click it, I think, as well. So if you've got a sort of, I don't know, XYZ or whatever else you've got going on at the end, I think it's going to affect the number of people that might want to just click through in the first place.
And I think Google's kind of working through that a little bit by eliminating the entire URL strings and just kind of putting the breadcrumbs version in there too. So I don't lean that much towards that. But if I'm buying something and it's a UK website that sells it, but I'm in the US and I want it within a week, I'm not going to get it from the UK website.
I mean, vice versa. You might not want to try a .com that has a California address or anything like that, when you might be interested in something that is more tailored to your area. And just like with emails, I look at the email that's sending before I even look at the subject line. So I think a lot of people, when they're perusing a search result, they're looking at the actual URL to see if they're going to actually click on it, even more than maybe the title and the description. Because it's real easy to tell. Oh, okay, that's a co.uk. That's a plumber near me, So I think that sometimes you have to look at it that way. I think some really great points by everybody here.
Talking of SEO, I just want to take a couple of minutes. I'll share my screen a second because I want to show this in Magic Page plugin. For those that are watching that don't that don't know what Magic Page plugin is, a mass page web builder. You can build lots of local pages, and so I just want to show this quickly, because now has it come up okay, or is it all gone flickery?
It's flickering a little.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Let's try and bring that back again a minute. See if I do it. No, all right. I was going to explain. Let me stop my screen share and I'll try it once more. Basically, it's got SEO now built into it. And the technology today, let's see if we'll do it this time. And if not, we'll have to, there we go. Right. So in Magic Page plugin now, on all pages at the bottom here, we've got the SEO section. And so you can put in your meta title, your description, your keywords, you can use a canal link, all the social stuff to do with Twitter. And also now at the bottom here, we can go into here and we can do simple schema or the advanced schema. You need an extra plugin from Mike Martin for that WP schema. But if we come into here now, we can scroll down and we can fill in all the basic schema within Magic Page plugins. And the advantage of this, for those that have Magic Page plugin, you can put X fields in these. With all other SEO plugins, you can't. They just X fields and shortcodes don't work. Now, the only thing to mention, right, in Magic Page plugin, you can create spin text shortcodes sections on them. They don't work in here. They do work in an X field at the top. So very simply, an X field is a piece of code where you can type in, create an X field, put the text in there. Wherever you put that X field on a page, that will appear where it says contact us. So it means if you put that on 5 pages, you can pop back in here and change that to whatever you want, and it will change on all 5 pages or 200 pages. So this is a great upgrade now with Magic Page plugin where you can pop all these details in accordingly. And Daryl, you've got if people are looking for MPP, they can get it. There's a link on your site, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, if you go to go.ht/MPP, you can go get the best deal, which is the Keith Best deal, which is really the lowest price as far as I'm concerned for the package. Mike made it just for him, so it gets you into that. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to my new link, guys, Daryl.chat. I had to get that. So that's a GTLD, the .chat. And it goes right to my phone and to my web browser and things like that. And it's really great. It's a Jivo chat system that I got it on AppSumo a few weeks ago during Sumo days, and it keeps track of who I'm talking to. So it has all of their information and their phone numbers and their emails and all that stuff that they put in their form once. And every time I talk to them, I don't have to figure out who the heck am I talking to? What is the context? What membership level do they have? I can put and tag that all in there the first time I talk to them. So when they come back, I know what the hell I'm talking about. So feel free, if you guys need to reach out, Daryl.chat. If I'm not available, I won't answer. It'll send me an email. Then I'll restart the chat, and then we can chat when we're both available. Okay. So yeah. I'm trying to get away from Facebook. There's a few things that are really bugging me about Facebook and Facebook groups. And so we're working on a few things to make sort of our own social platform. We'll still use Facebook for this kind of stuff, for streaming, but I want to get away from them owning our everything. So
can I just pick up on one point with Magic Page plugin, those that know it? The SEO part, if you use the Cadence theme, and I'm a big fan of the Cadence theme, and Elementor, the moment you filled in all the SEO part, if you then hit the Elementor button to go into edit and just come straight back out, the SEO is gone. Now, the guys are trying to work on a fix. I personally am switching actually to Cadence blocks and Gutenberg. I've been doing some tests, and I tell you now, Elementor speed test with Google, I've been getting on one of my sites about probably 50-60% on the desktop and low on the mobile. Gutenberg, I got 94% for the same layout.
Yeah.
And I got 58% as it was on the mobile version, and with a bit of tweaking, I know I can get that up higher again. So I'm starting to see in WordPress now, Gutenberg is far faster than Elementor, and it's one thing less to go wrong because it's built in.
Yeah. 100%. I'm a big Cadence fan as well. I mean, you know, Steve has talked about Cadence before, and yeah, the speed results just on regular websites and mass pages is just great. And yeah, I think the whole direction of WordPress with Gutenberg being kind of in-house, you know, not a third-party page builder, just it's just got to make sense on so many levels. So yeah, Cadence all the way for me too.
And the great thing about Cadence, I say, is Magic Page plugin has now been set up to work with Gutenberg, and not only that, the SEO doesn't go wrong when you're editing. There's not a plugin you nip in and nip out of. I noticed, Simon, you've got on one of your pages a link to Cadence, haven't you?
I do, yeah. That's it.
So
yeah, I'm promoting it at the moment. They've got a special offer on at the moment. So yeah,
please share it in the
Cadence
group, Simon, later on.
I will do.
You know, please do, because I'm not an affiliate of them. You know, and but I think they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just my little play. I'm doing like an hour one-to-one if anybody buys Cadence through my link, just to help them set it up. But yeah, big fan of Cadence. I'll stick to the link.
Clint,
in there.
Question for you, Clint. Do you use WordPress yourself?
I do, but I use Oxygen or Live Canvas to create my pages.
Yeah. The Oxygen page builder is really good as well, but with Magic Page plugin, you have to do some special twiddly things with shortcode boxes to make it work properly. You know, because of the way they built Oxygen, but you know, it's still a great product.
Yeah,
it's definitely not helpful for mass page builds unless you really know what you're doing. But if you want to learn SEO and actually get good with the code and tinkering, Oxygen's good, and Live Canvas is probably even better.
Awesome. Hey, couple things. One, we got over 400 people in our group for Facebook by Sunday. So I had hoped on Friday that we would have over 400. So it's a milestone for us. So we really appreciate it. And thank you guys for subscribing. Be sure to pass it along to other people as well so that they can check it out as well. Clint, if somebody has to go, how can they check out some more of your content? Because you've been dropping some knowledge bombs here. Before we're not going to say goodbye to you, but just in case somebody else has to say goodbye, how would they be able to reach you and find out what you're up to?
The easiest way is probably through YouTube. Google SEO or SEO this week, and you can find me there. I share all my contact information all there, and the different products I promote are there. So.
Awesome. And SEO this week is like a recap of all of the SEO news, or?
Yeah, it used to be. That's how it started out. But I'm like 213 shows in now. So I kind of moving it over towards a Q&A type of thing. Q&A learning.
Yeah, I heard that you had a 800 number going to your phone or something like that.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Call in.
That's awesome. So great. So guys, SEO this week in YouTube, he's all over the place. Just type in Clint Butler SEO. You'll find all kinds of stuff on there. I've been watching your stuff for a long time, Clint. I really love your humbleness and, your service to our country. This guy was in the military for a long time, military police, and a whole lot of other stuff. So thank you for your service as well, sir.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So, Steve, do you have anything you want to show, or do you just show us what you got?
I showed you that. It was.
Okay.
I mean, the only other update I have got is obviously all the DFY stuff has been going on. The done for you websites we've been building, and Elementor and Magic Page plugin updates broke a lot of the sites, and our devs have been frantically working on them all to get them all sorted. So we're converting the whole lot over to Cadence blocks, basically. No cost to the people who already got in, and they're gonna run even faster, even better. And tonight we're going to pick the winner of the contest after we finish it on here, and we'll share that in the groups as well when we get a spare moment. And super duper, it's going really well.
Awesome. Yeah, just to remind people that are just kind of joining us this second half here, that Steven's going to take his group and they're going to announce their winner, and they're going to talk DFY. We're going to hold on to Clint for a little while if we can, and we'll talk some more SEO and take your questions and get the guest line open for you as well. So a little bit of why, and break off and let each other talk about the specifics that are most important to you tonight. So that's one thing that we're going to try. If you're watching now, please make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and also make sure that you give a little thumbs up, that kind of thing, keep things rolling. If you want to be notified when we go live, make sure you hit the notification bell on your YouTube subscription as well. Okay, so what I would like to do is bring up my screen here. Let's see if I can add to stream. All right. So we've had an update for Siphon. This is kind of a big update we've worked on for the last couple of weeks. So in the Siphon inside of Mass Page Tools, if you have the Enterprise, you'll have Siphon. If you want to buy Siphon directly instead of going through the Enterprise, just go to getSiphonAI.com. That's getSiphonAI.com. And it'll take you to the page where you can buy it through the Thrive cart, and you could get your account set up. If you already have an account with MassPage, like say you have a MassPage account that's agency or lower, just reach out to me and we could get your account set up as an Enterprise Lite account, and we'll just send you the link for that, and it's the same price as if you just bought Siphon alone as an upgrade. Okay, so even if you're a lifetime agency plan member, which we have a lot of folks that are on that, you can add Siphon to your account for a pretty low monthly price and be able to do that. So we're going to be using this tool with the Enterprise Publishing. We had a webinar this week, and we have a lot of people that signed up for it, and a lot of people checking out the next webinar that's coming up on Wednesday. If you're interested in that, go to go.ht/Menterprise, and you'll be able to get access to that webinar. We were charging $10 for admission. If you have the coupon code, message me if you have a coupon code. If you're part of our group, we'll take care of you on that. But we just don't want people from off, out in the public just coming in and not showing up. So, all right. So what we have here is we've broken the search Siphon into 3 categories. The first is your summarization. Second is our sort of secret sauce, and then this is a normal paraphrasing setup. So if you go in here and you're going to search by keyword, now we have these presets, and we're going to add more presets for you. But it's very similar to if you've ever done sophisticated searching in Google. If you want to do all entitled searches, sometimes you can get all kinds of different stuff. So what we've done is we made some presets. There's just 2 here now, but these are to try to help you grab content from blog posts, and we're going to have articles, and we're going to have, these are services pages. So if we're going to put in, like, let's say plumber in New York City, okay, and then we just go down here and hit Siphon. What this is going to do is it's going to look for services inside of the URL, okay? And then it's going to have plumber in New York City as the keyword that it's searching Google for. All right, so now it's found a bunch of stuff, and now you're not getting the typical Angie's List and all that kind of stuff. You're actually going to get, blog posts or services pages and things like that. So, it helps with that. Now, your information will start to show up down here. Okay. This is all being rewritten on demand. So as it's being grabbed from the internet, it's rewriting it with our AI. All right. So all of this, you can pretty much just change out the brands, and, you can check it with Copyscape if you want, but you can also show the original. So over to the right side on this one, you can see the difference. This says, since the establishment of our company, we have been a friendly local plumber that you can trust, not only for the job done correctly. And then it says on the other side, as you can read here, this is the original. This is how we've reworded it. Okay. So we're going to do this in bulk for you on your searches, and you'll have several different of these things, and you'll be able to send them right to our form. Or you can do, once this is completed, you can send it all to one document, and then you can edit it yourself or add spin text, or send it to a VA, whatever you might want to do with it. So the whole idea is it's doing the the searches. It's going ahead and grabbing the URLs. It's scraping the content. It's rewording the content. and it's allowing you to send it into our form as soon as possible. We're also going to have an API for this, so that you'll be able to have a developer use our Siphon technology for your own website, or you could we're talking to folks at DMT, and I've been talking to Mike Martin and things like that about using our API inside of some of their programs. So it'll be something, still to come on that. So you'll have an API key from us, and then you'll go and put it into those other programs, and your credits will come out of this. So you'll see your usage credits, how many siphons you've used, how much SpinText you've used, all of that kind of thing. Okay. We still have the same thing with the bulk URLs. You can throw the bulk URLs in here and you can scrape it. One other thing that's really great about the Siphon AI right now is we have RSS feeds. So say, for instance, and I showed this before in a demo, but let's say, for instance, you're going to grab this guy's RSS feed. We're just going to copy that. Let's see if this will work. Okay, here's his feed. We're going to hit go, and it's going to go parse his feed and grab his blog posts. Okay. So when you do that and you hit Siphon, it's going to go through each one of these, grab the content, rephrase it, and make it so that you can reutilize it for yourself. Just obviously you have to clear out the brands and all this. It just takes a little bit of time to go through. And if you hit the original, you can see the difference between the two is enough that, that you'll be able to, with a little bit of changes, you can do that. Now, even if you want to do SpinText on top of this, you can do the rephrasing, then do SpinText with Word AI 5.0 that's built into our system. So you have even more variations on top of that once you put it into your project with SpinText. So this is a really sophisticated program. Nobody's doing what we're doing with this. So if you're interested in it, reach out to me at daryl.chat. And we can talk about it and get you into the program if you have questions. Otherwise, you can just go to siphonai.com and you can pick it up from there. All right. So there's a lot of information getting grabbed from these RSS feeds, and it's only 40% done, and it's going to set you up so that you can reuse a lot of this stuff. All right. So that's that. Check it out. The one other thing that we do have is when this comes through the end, you can send these to the form now. Okay, so in here under the codes, there is now a transfer key. Okay, and this gets really exciting because if you take this transfer key, all right, and you copy it and you bring it over to here, you can send this to the form. All right, so might have to wait till it's done doing the process, but when it's done, you can send it to the form and it'll go right to a description body inside of this. Okay, this is that form. This goes and builds out a whole website for you, and it'll go right into the description body, the next one available based on that ID. Okay, so the form ID has each form has its own ID. Now, what you'll also be able to do is send them all at once. So you can send all to the form. So if you go like this and you hit send, it's sent 2 through 11 to my form, Ledger Digital Marketing. Okay. So if we go back to that form and you hit reset, each one of those description bodies will be in here for you to see. So I just got to make sure that he did that right, because I don't know if I have to reload it or what. But it was working in staging. We just moved this over today, so I'll have the developer look at that. But we have been testing this, and this just went on to production today. So
Daryl, I was gonna say, Christy's got a question just coming in. If you want to take any questions on this, we're just asking about what about FAQs with Siphon. So you've got the services there and the blog. Yep. You mentioned other types. Is FAQ part of the plans as well?
It would be very easy to do that. If you do a search, I'm assuming if we do a search, Christy, great question. If you go to Siphon and you just grab one of these as your template, and then you put in FAQ, and then you put in plumber DFY. All right. And we just go to hit this. And this grabs a bunch of websites. And I don't see here's an FAQ here, but they should be in all of them. So I'm going to have them revise that because it should be in each one of the URLs. So guys, we'll get there. It takes some time. This stuff we're experimenting with, and I told people that we would have Siphon moved over, and this is something we added yesterday. So we didn't, fully get a chance to test it 1,000%. So here's it looks like some FAQs, and we'll have more and more of that working for you because we were talking about it. We could do multiple keywords in the alt and FAQ. So we get frequently asked questions, FAQ, things like that. And then you can really solidify it because it's really garbage in, garbage out. If you get great content in your scrape, you'll be able to get great content to reword and to be able to use on your website. Here's Kyle Roof. He's got his Lorem Ipsum in here. Yeah. So that's where we're at. So the other thing is, we got some good news coming with that key that you have, that key ID, but I'm not going to announce that today. We'll save that for another day. All right. So that is me and Siphon and the new update. Feel free to test it. If you find any issues yourself, go ahead and message me on daryl.chat and we'll go ahead and we'll tell the developers and get it fixed for you. All right. That is me. All right. So we are at 46 past the hour. I think what we'll do now is we'll open up the guest line to folks to ask some questions to Clint and ourselves. And then we will do our domain giveaway and we will part ways to Stevens and his group. And then we'll, of course, carry on. So go ahead and go to our website, go.ht/guest. Go.ht/guest. We do have some rules of the game. We don't want you guys taking over the show. We don't want you to take more than a couple questions, in and out, 5 minutes at the most, hopefully, or around there. And come on in and ask your questions. You've got some great brains in the business right here to talk to. So go to go.ht/guest, and it should get you right into our StreamYard. And we can talk to you live here. So, guys, do you have any questions for Clint while we're waiting for guests to come on?
Yeah, Clint, I was going to ask you, what is the big number one SEO mistake you think people make the most?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it's failing to properly optimize their content. And it's always an on page. So when I first started talking and speaking in public, my original push was get back to the basics. And right now, everyone's worried about tricks and tips and tactics to get there fast and make money fast. And it's inherently our built-in greed system that makes us do that, right? But we always forget about the basics. And most pages and most websites that I either consult on or work on, it's those basics that was missed. The top 5, the titles, meta description, URLs, H1s, and the content. Get that stuff right, and then the rest of this stuff is actually pretty easy. So I think that'd be my answer to that question.
I think that's a great answer because I noticed as well that people are lazy. I once went on to a Chambers of Commerce meeting, and this guy had his HTML site up, and he pretended to be an SEO expert, and his site was awful. And in the week between us going back again, I built a site in his niche. I filled all the data and all the on-page stuff, all the right titles and description, did it all properly. And within a week, it was above his. And then that following week when we were in there, I said, "Oh, excuse me, can you show us your website again live?" He went, "Yeah, sure. Where it is on Google." And he went, "Oh, someone's above me." I went, "Yeah, that's me." And he didn't like it. I think I got banned from the group.
We had a question here. Clint, how would you start getting clients as you started an agency? How would you do it today?
Oh, that's a tough question. Today, I think it's a lot easier for me because I'm out there and I've been out in the community and talking to people, and I get most of my clients by self-referral these days. I can tell you that I used to run the SEO for an agency called Over the Top SEO outside of Israel. And I ranked that website for city SEO, Phoenix SEO, Dallas SEO, Boston SEO, 487 different cities, top
Wow.
3 rankings. And that is the worst lead you could possibly try to get. Those are just trash. That's trash conversions, trash customers. So if you're going to use SEO to do it, I would think about approaching that a little bit differently. But for me right now, I'm in the position now where I don't have to chase people. They come to me with their questions, and eventually they convert into customers after that.
Awesome.
I think as well, it's offering value. When like you're on YouTube, Clint. So when you're offering value to somebody, you don't have to worry necessarily about finding customers. Look, like you said, they come to you. And the people in the IAM world, especially, I see so many IAM products come out on JV Zoo, and people are chasing after they bring out a product, they bring out the next one. They don't look after the original ones. Something I like about the guys on here that I work with is the fact that they look after their customers. The products that if they do have issues, the products get fixed. All technology has problems. I mean, the other day, eBay in the UK was completely down because the DNS had failed. I think it's all of Europe, to be honest. So, these things do happen. And I think you're right in saying you offer value on a YouTube channel or on a Facebook group or wherever it may be. People come to you.
Yeah, and it's shiny object syndrome, right? I think every one of us has been into that. I'm sure all of you have. When you first started out, you were buying things left and right and center and trying to figure out, oh, maybe this one is the one I need. Maybe that one's the one I need. And I think your ability to fall into that trap is a little bit tied with how desperate you are to get money now, which is the ultimate goal. At some point, you got to make money off of this. And so you just, be careful, recognize when you're into that trap and shut yourself down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, we have some things over the years we bought that were like, we use them still every day, and we paid a lifetime price for them. And it's like, whoa, that's just, it almost made it worth all of the little things that you bought that you're like, oh, this sucked, and that kind of thing. But the bottom line is you find a winner and you stick with it. And sometimes you have to adventure out on, whether you learn from different people or you go in and you buy a couple different things. Everybody's exploring till they find what makes it work for them. And in this space, it's always tricky because there's a lot of different stuff that is just kind of, just not going to move the needle for you. So you got to be very buyer beware kind of thing.
Yeah.
We had a guy ask, do you use VAs, Clint, for your projects, or do you do them yourself? Or
my projects right now, I'm actually either in a consultant mode or I'm a management mode of their own team. So most of that work is all done through VA teams.
Awesome. Maybe if somebody, I don't know if you want to answer this, Paul, but is this a question you feel comfortable with? The basics on how to deal with interlinking?
Oh, that's a long question.
Yeah. It is.
Well, the short version is remember that example you gave with a topic cluster, primary keyword and supporting related keyword.
Yeah.
I build silos out using those same cluster methodologies. And then I link back to my target page with the exact match. Now, one thing I do different than most people is a lot of people now are using plugins to interlink their pages, and they just kind of go willy-nilly and random. And it's not abnormal for their websites to have, or web pages to have 50 internal links. But at some point, there's a tipping point where Google just doesn't care about any more of them. So let's take my site, digitalear.com. I know that if I build 4 or 5 supporting pages, that's probably the max that Google's going to give me out of the power from the internal links. And you got to figure that out for your websites and your projects. And that's probably the best bet to go. And then I always do 100% exact match anchors internally.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about this in an advanced training we did yesterday about keyword density and your target keywords and things. And I'm going to actually send a note out to these guys because I thought about it afterwards, and I want to revise what I said to them because we were talking about a keyword density of between mid 2% to like a low 3% for a keyword, but that's probably too much now that I'm thinking about it. No? What do you think?
No. We have tests in SIA, and Tech Kubitis has also done them. He was the original one that came out with it, and we've had 3 or 4 repeating tests. I can rank a web page number 1 with 90% keyword density, and that it goes down based off of position, based off of percentage. So 90 is 85, 80, 75, etc. It goes all the way down, and then the mid range gets dropped out, and then those low ranges come back in. So if you actually look at the HTML web pages that are ranking and search for the keywords, you'll find that the density is a lot higher than you think it is. So there's no more blanket keyword density needs to be 2 to 5. Anchor text needs to be 1% exact match. None of those old thinkings after Penguin came out is when primarily Penguin and Panda is when those 2 thinkings started coming out. Aren't actually true anymore. So look at it a lot closer. Good example, just Google games and then look at the code in there. Some of those sites have over 1,000 instances of games.
At what point, though, if you spam the keyword all over your page, do you lose you get your bounce rate and you lose your customer?
Yeah, well, there's a balance, so you have to actually figure out some different places to put your keywords. So HTML, for example, you're doing a backlink on there. There's little things called title and description inside of that H tag, that ahref tag that you can put keywords in. Meta description, the meta keywords, span title tags. You can do all kinds of stuff inside of the code that don't necessarily have to be seen by your potential client.
Awesome. We did have another question about siloing. Does siloing work? I hear conflicting views.
Yeah. I've only known one person that says that silo doesn't work, and he was out of his mind. So.
All right. Lily asked the question about DFY contest. I've never heard of DFY. What's that, Stephen?
Oh, that was the done for you magic themes contest we run.
I'm just kidding you. I'm just giving I'm giving you the setup.
Lily, in a few minutes will be our group on my Facebook channels. You'll be able to watch on there. Or you can pop on to here, and it's dfy.cu live, and you can turn your camera off. It's sort of a bit like a club. Everyone can just hop on. We can have up to 10 cameras on and 100 people in a room, and it's really just a chat about stuff. It's nothing special, because I wanted to keep the questions on here purely within the time scale. Because we've had comments from people saying that we were on a bit too long last week, and we want to keep everyone happy. So that's what we're sort of doing. We're trialing it out, a bit like a cafe in a way. So, and Clint, if you want to join us later on when you finish, you're welcome to. Anybody is. It's sort of a come in and say hello type thing. It's nothing in particular.
All right. Very good. So now we're going to do our domain giveaway with the Wheel of Names. It's very easy to participate if you are interested in one of the domains that we have on the platter today. So let's go ahead and show you what domains we have for you available that you can grab from my inventory. We have gotmug.com. We brought back hireatechie.com. We have restorationprices.com, and we have grubsta.com. Okay. Most of these valued over $1,000 each. So you can pick A, B, C, or D, and you can pick one of these domains. If your name comes up, go ahead and throw your name inside the chat right now, and we'll throw it into the wheel of names, and someone's going to win one of these today. We'll transfer it to your account, whatever registry it is, and you won't have to pay for the domain. If you have a transfer fee, you have to renew it. All of that is on you. But these are for you to take and to monetize and do something with. Okay, so we got some names filing in, and I will go ahead and reset this off the screen so that we can talk a little bit more while I build up the wheel of names. And we'll go ahead and you guys want to chat a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah. So Paul P's in, George is in. Well done, guys. Keep your names coming in so we can add you to win a domain name. Simon.
Yes.
I re-mentioned. Someone messaged me probably saying, "What's your details on Cadence?" Because I know you also mentioned in your group that you had an offer with that if they trying to use your affiliate link.
Yeah. So my link is simonhogben.com/cadence, and if you go through to there, if you buy through the referral link, I'm happy to have a chat, give you a one-to-one, give you some coaching on how you get it set up on Cadence. So I did put it in the comments earlier on. I can do that again now, just so everyone's got it. But simonhogben.com Cadence, and happy to help you guys out there. Their offer runs until the 4th of August. So they've got like 40% off, I think, annual subscriptions, and they've still got a lifetime deal, which is also discounted as well. So yeah, that's where you get your Cadence.
That's crazy. Lifetime deal still on Cadence.
Yeah.
The people were. I'll tell you now. I'm so glad I bought in on that, because Cadence have actually offered so much more value since I bought it. I think it was AppSumo, wasn't it, Simon? Originally, it was, or somewhere like that. They did the deal. I can't remember, but I know when I got in, there was half the value there is now, and they are looking after it.
Yeah, it's still on the website. I mean, the Cadence Cloud, I mean, obviously it's the blocks of themes, but the Cadence Cloud is just a game changer. If you want to make your own themes, you want to sell them, you want to share them across your own website network, yeah, they're adding lots of stuff. They've been bought out by iThemes as well, so they're now part of a bigger group. So I think that they're going places. So I'm backing them. But yeah, that's Cadence.
Clint,
Awesome.
we do let our guests to be on the wheel. If you want your name on here, I'll throw it on. Oh wait, you're on.
I'm good, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
I think Clint's got one or two domain names, haven't you, Clint?
Yeah, I got a whole registry full of hopes and dreams.
Yeah, that's what they are, right? Hopes and dreams. I usually sell them throughout the year if I'm not building on them, and do okay with it. So so we enjoy that kind of thing. It's another sport of mine. Mass page is one of my sports, and selling and buying domains is one of my sports that I have. So all right, guys, take a look. If you don't see your name on there, go ahead and put it inside the chat wherever you may be. Now, Clint, you have another product, right? You have a software. You're kind of the schema guy in the industry. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's Rank Gear. It's at rankgear.com, and that's been a couple of years in the making, but I finally got the right devs and a SaaS manager to put it all together for us. But the idea is actually get beyond the normal schemas that you can get in plugins or whatever, and write your own real advanced schema that leverages machine learning, etc., the way that schema was intended to be in the first place. And by creating the software, we actually got rid of a couple of the biggest hangups that people have of writing their own, and that's squarely bracket and the commas. The software takes care of all that for you. So as long as you're putting stuff in the right place, you'll pass, and you can look pretty good to whoever reviewing your schema stuff.
So it's a little bit like my tool. You're basically filling out a form, and it kind of makes the dirty stuff come together. So the hard stuff. Yeah,
but it gets a little bit beyond that too. You're not limited to just fields that are in your software. You can add all of the schema. So if you go to schema.org and look at those pages, and all of those things are available for that particular schema type, like local business, for example.
I see.
And it's kind of like, I think that's why a lot of the plugins and stuff are just no longer effectively working, is because they've created this standard that Google is seeing across the board, and now you have to write above and beyond that standard to stand out.
Awesome.
And Rank Gear just makes that a little bit easier for you.
All right, Cool. Well, Tim Judge says, spin it. I think we are full of names here. If anybody sees anybody we missed, take a look real quick. Matthew, Don, Steve, I think we got everybody. We'll go ahead and spin this, and somebody can pick one of the domains, and they can make it their own. So here we go. We're spinning the wheel. Is it going to be Colin or Steve?
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's Colin K.
Hey,
Well done, Colin.
Nice job, Colin. Go ahead and reach out to me on Facebook or Daryl.chat, and we'll go ahead and get that transferred over to you. So congratulations. But let's first find out which domain you would like. So we'll go ahead and we'll flash on that domain again, the list. Just tell us A, B, C, or D, Colin. Would you like to get in the restoration business? Do you want to start a food site, Grubsta? Do you want to hire a techie and have a website to hire a techie? Or are you going to do an e-commerce site with gotmug.com? Which one do you think would be best for you? And everybody give a little congratulations to him inside of the comments. And we'll go ahead and get that over to you. Congrats, Collins. Yep. Paul says.
That was me. I would pick A.
Yeah, e-commerce, right? I mean, think about how many people want to buy a mug, or what about the print-on-demand mugs?
Yeah, like a Gear Bubble account, and you can actually have it on your own e-com store and then mirrored on Amazon and eBay.
And it's only 6 letters. It's a .com and 6 letters.
Yeah, it's real nice to me.
Yeah.
Easy to remember brand too.
Yeah, until it got milk, people go after you and say, "No, that's our thing." But I've never had it. I've had this for years. Nobody's ever said that's got milk problem. So I don't think they can, because it's a different thing altogether.
Yeah,
I don't think you can trademark the word "got." Look at, he's going to go with "got mug." Congratulations, Colin. Reach out to me on Daryl.chat, and let's make sure, actually do it through Facebook so I can verify that you are you, and we'll go from there. All right. So just reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. Congratulations. You got yourself a fine domain there, and enjoy. All right. So let's remove that. So Steve, you're going to step out, right?
I'm going to disappear. Yeah. So if anyone wants to come in, even after this, we'll be on for an hour. Pop into dfy.cu/live. Come in. It's a bit like a coffee shop, but we can chat about SEO, all sorts of stuff. So it's just a general chat, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you, Clint. Absolute pleasure having you here, my friend. It really is. It's an honor, and I'll reach out to you at some point. So thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. All right.
You, Steve.
Clint, thanks for hanging with us. We'll maybe do another 15, 20 minutes here. If you are okay with that, we'll just talk a little bit about SEO and mass page and some projects that you're working on. So you talked to me a little bit about mass page and what got you started. Can you talk a little bit about what you think the world of mass page is right now? Because, before my tool came out and things like that, there was a lot of people that said, "Oh, mass page is dead." And I don't think you're one of those guys, right?
No, if you can rank, especially you're digging in the local market, most of those sites, if you look at them close enough, are essentially all mass page sites. In particular, the big directories and such like that. I'm in rehab. Mass page sites are alive and well in rehab. They can be for services, home services as well too. So I think they're going. My first instinct, the one that I was mentioning, was SERP Shaker. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've heard some mixed results with SERP Shaker, and I kind of fell in love with Magic Page plugin because I've done them myself. I did. There was one called Super Bulk Postmaker that I used that for a while.
That's a horrible name.
I know. And I used that for a while, but I always wanted to have that local proximity, and Magic Page plugin had the local proximity pages because that's what I always saw worked, the relevancy of the pages being localized. and Magic Page nailed that part of it. So
Yeah.
I always thought that was something really unique about that. Hey, folks, if you want to join us live, we're here for another 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Go to go.ht/guest, put that in the browser, give yourself permission to join us on here with StreamYard. You'll talk to Clint for a few minutes longer while he's here. And Simon, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was going to ask Clint a question. I mean, you've been in SEO for over 10 years now. I mean, what are the main things that you've seen change, and what's the same during that decade? Because it's a long time in this industry.
Oh, honestly, if you look back at the histories and you do the testing and stuff, not really a whole lot has changed, minus the power. I won't say the power of, but the effectiveness of links and mass link building. You can still rank. To this day, I'm still ranking pages with GSA search engine ranker and link bass. But you can be a little bit smarter now and do less work and get the same amount of bang. So I think link building is probably where Google's put a lot of focus. Their latest updates have proven that they're actually shifting away from looking at links in the traditional way. We all hear, if you build bad links, you're going to get penalized and stuff, but they're not. Based off of their last few releases and their last few podcasts, they're not looking at links going to your website. They're looking at the sites that are giving those links, and they're going after them, which is smart. It's kind of like, this whole drug war. We're not going after the users anymore. We're going after the people that are enabling the sellers.
So they're just ignoring a lot more links, and they're really focusing on the ones that are quality, more relevant.
Well, they're demoting sites that are selling links. They're demoting sites that are selling guest posts. They're demoting sites that are leveraging affiliates. They're demoting sites that don't clean up after themselves. Let your comments go away, go wild. Then they're going to demote your site. And the recipient of a link from those, you're going to see what is essentially link decay. So they're not algorithmically penalizing you. They're just removing those sites from their list of these are valuable sites. So this is a valuable link. And ergo, you're essentially lost that link and the power that we're giving. So
I think it's
interesting for us.
What is your take? A lot of folks in our community did Google News sites and did it in some kind of way where they're reutilizing content and reposting it. Do you know of people that have done that? Did they get burned? Did they have good results? And do you have any Google News sites?
Holly Starks was teaching that. She sold a course on it. She made this big old monster network, and the Dallas Daily News is now suing her for doing that. Reasoning their content on her news sites. They have an active lawsuit out against her. So I would be very, very cautious if you're going to do something like that. And just know that if the right person finds it and they care enough, you could be in legal trouble. So I have 10 news sites myself. All 10 of my sites are actually powered by magicpr.net. So whenever they publish a press release, it goes out on my 10 sites. And then we're working on getting another one for SIA. We're going to actually doing a test to get our news category done. And in that, we just have a writer who just goes out and finds SEO news and puts his perspective to it versus just copying it out. He publishes 3 posts a day, which is totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So you're kind of curating and sort of using a VA to process that. And then you're like a ghostwriter almost, right?
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I think I gather how Holly's network is still active and it's being developed and changed to be more in line with the guidelines. So I think she's trying to find a way through that that particular situation. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Where you are in terms of curating, copying, reprocessing content, but I guess she might not have got on the right side of the line. But yeah, interesting.
And it's not necessarily, honestly, doing it is not necessarily illegal in and of itself. You get really, if you're going to do that, you got to know the targets that you're going after. And if someone tells you to knock it off, then you should probably knock it off. And I think she just kind of pushed the buttons over there and pulled that on herself. But typically, if the terms and conditions of the site that you're getting the news from says that you can republish it, as long as you're not changing everything and you're putting the proper sourcing on there and stuff, then you're going to be okay. And there's a lot of sites that are totally fine with you doing that. And there's a lot of news networks that are totally fine with you doing that. So you just have to do your research a little bit more when you're picking your sources.
Okay. I have a question for you. With regard to white hat, gray hat, and black hat, what percentages are you of those three?
I've made a whole entire brand on wearing a black hat, because to me, I think that argument is it's weak. It's a marketing sales pitch at this point, and it's leveraged more by so-called white hats than it is black hats. So, from my perspective, if you're doing SEO outside of creating and optimizing your website and doing some outreach to promote your posts, your pieces of content, and i.e., hey, listen, this is this article I read, check it out, see if you like it, right? If you're doing anything beyond that, you're violating Google terms of service. Ergo, you're a black hat SEO. And most of the so-called white hat people that I know buy guest posts, they trade guest posts, or they buy backlinks at the end of the day, because you can't rank in Google for competitive terms without backlinks. But they all have used this and leveraged this white hat versus black hat thing so much that customer base is now, I don't want any black hat SEO. Well, technically, you don't really want any successful working SEO at that point, because you have to get links, you have to do citations, you have to promote your business and your brand, and you can't do that on the internet without creating backlinks. So,
yeah. Now, you spend a lot of time researching Google and their updates and things like that. You've seen the landscape for quite a while with SEO. Do you think that there's a end of the domination of Google at some point, where other, companies and search engines and media companies have their sort of life cycle where they have their peak and they kind of, start to fall? Do you think that anybody will have a chance to kind of knock them off in search, because they got themselves into so many other things, just like Amazon is doing so many different things, and Tesla and all these different companies? Eventually you take your eye off the prize. Where do you start to lose your dominance and in that? What's your thoughts?
I think the beginning of the end for Google was featured snippets, and eventually, or the priorities of what they're doing with monetization and the organic results. So what I mean by that is featured snippets take over and dominate the search results, and it answers questions, but maybe I want to be able to research that on my own. And as they take up more and more of that SERP space, that pixel space in the search results, they're actually hindering what the users are really looking for and looking for sources. So I think if they get too crazy with that, they're going to lose a lot of market share, because the other search engines aren't leveraging that as much. And then on the flip side of that, as in the local space in particular, what is the one thing that they always front load? Directories, Home Advisors, AngelList, Thumbtack, Zillow, Redfin. All of those directories are all above actual websites of local businesses, and people are getting tired of that. And you can actually see the transition where page 2 is now getting a lot more clicks than it used to, because Google is front loading those directories. And why are they front loading the directories? Because they want that local business to buy PPC ads. So it's something that they have to figure that out and try to balance organic traffic that they're giving versus their PPC model. That's also why they'll never clean up Google Maps. They'll never legitimately take a stab at actually cleaning up Google Maps, because they want to monetize Google Maps. So if Daryl and Simon are out making a whole bunch of fake map listings and pushing the real businesses down, and then the real businesses have to pay for that number 1 map position in the ad block, that's good for them. So they're never seriously going to go after those Google Maps spammers.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead,
interesting.
Simon.
Yeah, I think that is really interesting. And you've seen it just creeping in. I think so many people just bypass ads. I don't think they trust them as much. And if more and more is put at the top, I think that's right. I don't know what the stats are, but I don't know if anybody, if you, Daryl or Clint, in terms of how many people click the ads versus go to organic. But I understood it was only a small percentage would first click the ads because people scroll down to go for what they think is the trusted result because it's the top of the search. So
5% for the ads and 26 to 29 depending on the survey you look at.
So it's a small percentage. Yeah, cool. So that's the warning to Google, isn't it? If most people are bypassing the ads that are forced in front of you and 90% or whatever are going past them, if they put more of those ads in, it becomes less useful or less what people want. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's almost the Walmartization of the search analogy because you take the big directories and you let them take up all of that real estate, and eventually the mom and pop shops on page 2 and 3 start to have a real time struggling, to make ends meet. So eventually, when is that going to flip? And these mom and pops say, "We're not using Google anymore. Tell your friends and family not to use Google anymore. We're using this thing called Clint Butler search." And it just, will that change? I'm getting sick of Facebook. Like I want to move my stuff off of Facebook and get it onto my own platform. I don't think I'm alone. There's a lot of people that also want to get off of different platforms and onto their own platform.
Well, there's a lot of people that say that versus how many people actually do it. So I would be dumb to leave Facebook. I make about $20,000 a year from Facebook, so I'd be dumb to leave it. But that doesn't mean I got to be over there all the time engaging on it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I'm tired of Facebook. I want to go somewhere else," and then you or like me create another avenue for them. You're like, "No, how come you don't have a Facebook group?" I mean,
yeah, we'll always have a Facebook group because everything, all these phone, television things and all the social shares, all that stuff works with Facebook, and you would be hard pressed to get all of these things to work with your measly little platform. That's understandable, but I do think that Google's days eventually will be numbered. I just don't know when that is. But everything, look how powerful AOL was at one point. Look how powerful. Nobody would have ever thought AOL would be, basically worthless. But things do change.
I think Microsoft could do it. I think they could take a lot of their market share if they actually took Bing seriously. But that's a side project for them, in my opinion. They're just kind of like, oh, and we also have Bing. So.
Yeah, I think that they should have thought a little bit more about the branding. I just don't think Bing has the je ne sais quoi of the cool factor for Gen Z to kind of make it their thing. Who would have thought Instagram would be a great name either, but sometimes it just is a weird name to say. I think that some people always think of that as the 99-cent store versus the dollar store. It's just not the real deal.
Well, at one point their search results were horrible.
Yeah,
it was a mixed bag, and they are getting better. It just they didn't develop as fast, and now they're losing. They lost the market share. And it's a little bit harder to get people back to that now. So, and you can see it. You can watch the Bing search results, and they almost, in terms of features and et cetera, it's like they're just looking at Google, seeing what they did last year, and then implementing it in Bing. So it's not to me, it's just not a serious project for them.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't like a search engine where they don't come at the top. So, yeah. So, awesome. So let's talk about any of your projects that folks could take advantage of, and we'll wrap for today.
That really is Rank Gear. We already talked about that. If you're looking at writing SEO and using templates and all that stuff, you're following trainings that are requiring using templates and all that. Rank Gear is a great tool for you to leverage that. And then I have SIA. That's over at SEOintel.com. Do monthly tests, different things. It's I think we're like at 600 tests in now, and it's pretty good. We're not doing like the super nerdy high level stuff. We're just doing stuff that people can implement right now today and rank it and leverage their existing stuff within their tool set.
So if you were like a business that kind of your job is to do SEO versus being a full-time SEO, would you still get some benefit of that?
Oh, business users as our primary
Okay.
customer base over at SIA. Yeah.
Awesome. So it'll get you kind of a unfair advantage if your competitor isn't paying attention to what's really happening with Google.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
awesome. Well, Simon, do you have anything else? I think we could wrap there.
No more questions. Just great to meet you, Clint, and thanks for coming on. It's great to have your insight and input. So much appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, really do appreciate it. And until next Sunday, we appreciate you being part of Sunday Live, and have a great week. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Take care.